Hello, I'm Urlo of Ufomammut and Demon and Malleus also, and I'm very proud to be here at Doom and Stone Latin America.
Hola, bienvenidos a Doom and Stone Latinoamérica. Mi nombre es Román Tamayo y es un placer estar con todos ustedes visitando a nuestros artistas favoritos alrededor del mundo. El día de hoy tengo el privilegio, el honor de platicar nuevamente con Urlo, mejor conocido como Demon, este nuevo proyecto que tiene. Y bueno, vamos a platicar sobre estos 23 años de la banda de Ufomammut y de su nuevo álbum. Tiene algunos colaboradores como Colin de Amenra, Steve Bontil. Así que bueno, vamos a platicar. Hello, welcome to the show, Urlo. How are you?
Hello, all is fine, thank you.
Thank
you. I'm honored to be a part of this. So it's great to be in some way in Mexico now.
yeah. Probably, as I said last time, you have a lot of fans here. So if someday, guys, you come, it will be crazy. Trust me, in South America too.
Well, I hope it will happen soon. I mean, we try to come to the States this year, but at the end we decided not to go because of the bureaucracy, visas, and everything. It was really crazy. So we hope to come to South America. That probably will be full of people we never met, and it will be a really new experience for us. So I hope this thing will happen very soon, maybe next year. We don't know.
Hopefully. And well, the first question for you is, what are the earliest music memories, and how do you get involved in heavy music?
Oh, I think that when I was a kid, so ages ago, I was more into the punk rock music. Let's say I was really. I had a friend at high school, and we share with I shared with him punk music. Then I had these friends in Switzerland, in Lausanne, in Switzerland, and they also had this thing of punk music. So we were. I was more into this kind of stuff. Then with when I met Poya, he was more into, let's say, things like Led Zeppelin, classic rock, and then we started in sharing what we loved. So I started in listening to Led Zeppelin, and I started to listen to some, I don't know, The Clash or Buzzcocks and so on. So from this thing, little by little, we went into searching in heavy music. And I remember that when I was a kid, a really, really, really young kid, I think I was 8 or 9, something like that. The first album I bought was Meddle of Pink Floyd. And this was my first experience with different music, let's say. And I was hypnotized by the cover. And I was in a supermarket at the times, and they also sold vinyls. And I remember I changed the price because it was quite expensive. And with a vinyl that was cheaper, and I went to my mother saying, "Mommy, can we buy this one?" And she said, "Oh, yeah, okay, it's quite cheap, okay." So I had like, at that time, there were no barcodes or things like that. There was just a sticker on the vinyls. So I remember that when my mother was paying, I was terrified, and but everything went smooth. And so this one was my first experience with, let's call it heavy music, because in metal there is the song "One of These Days"
Yes.
that is quite scaring for a child. And I remember I put it on, I listened to it, and I said, "No, it's strange." So it remained there for years. And then after a while, I started again in listening to this album, and then Black Sabbath came, and other heavy music, of course, and till the 90s, when Poi and me discovered Sleep, Caius, Snail, the God Machine, all these bands, Melvins, and all the Soundgarden and Nirvana, all this scene that was growing at that time. So little by little, let's say that when these were great years for music.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Pink Floyd is the best, of course.
I'm a little thief.
Yeah. And well, I want to talk a little bit about Ufomammut. I have some questions about Ufomammut. And of course, the first one is, can you tell us about the early days of Ufomammut and the local scene at that time?
At that time, I think that the local scene was quite nothing. I mean, there were, Poi and me were playing in another band before Ufomammut that was called Giudicorda. That was a joke. Giudicorda means to be upset in Italian. And so it was like a name, like Judy Garland, Giudicorda, and this thing. And at that time, there were a few bands playing their own style. And we were doing something like Ufomammut, but in a more technical way, let's say, because we had a very skilled drummer at that time. And there was another band from near here, and another one that was in Pavia, that was something like 60 kilometers from here. Then in Italy, well, there were bands, but the biggest scene in Italy was with progressive rock, for sure. Then there was a period in which music went down more to commercial stuff and so on. And when we started, it was quite a desert, let's say, but then little by little, the things started in growing. And in 2006, if I'm not wrong, when we did Lucifer song, we decided to, with Malleus, that is my main job, that is still with Poya, always with Poya and with Luke, with the posters, graphics, and so on. We decided to start this record label, Supernatural Cat, trying to find out some interesting bands in Italy. And so searching around, we found that there were a lot of interesting bands, and during the years we met people and bands like Lento, like Morkbot, like Incoming Cerebral Overdrive, Ovo, and then other bands that are not on our labels, like Zoo. They were quite known all around the globe, doing things with Mike Patton, for example, and so on. So the scene was quite interesting at the beginning, growing a lot around the first decade of the new century. And then now it's full of bands, I think, but in a different way. I mean, it's more close in genre, while at the beginning, when we started, it was more open, probably because I was younger, so I get this impression. I don't know, but the idea is this one. And but there's still a lot of bands growing today in Italy, lots of bands playing, and lots of good things in all kind of from hardcore to, let's say, doom, psych, heavy music, and so on. And one thing that I've noticed from my experience is that when you come from a country that is not UK or US, you always notice that the bands are a little different. I mean, there's probably because you get the urgency to do something to be noticed much more. You don't have to be a classic band from UK or US or things like that. So a lot of bands coming from outside these main countries for rock and music are always a little different in some way. They are very peculiar, and lots of different things and personal things that are very interesting sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I understand that part, especially, for example, in South America, they have these kind of movements. They combine like a cumbia, psychedelic stuff with this kind of some stoner heavy, and it's just amazing. It's beautiful. That's why the genre is not, it's not too complicated like a progressive, it's not super technical, but when the bands combine this kind of sounds, heavy sounds, with the local music, a lot of amazing things happen, and that's the part of the magic.
Oh, that's true. Well, if we think about a big band from South America, that is Sepultura, for example, if they were the mainstream, they were really different. When they did Roots, it was an amazing album because they mixed all the roots of their culture, and it was something really new in heavy music at that time. So I think it's very important to keep our roots and trying to put them out in some way.
Yeah, and well, I have a strange question for you. What do you think when I say the name Paul Chain?
Oh, I think it's. I never followed him too much, but I know that outside of Italy is very known, and sometimes, a lot of times, it happens to me that people ask me, "Do you know him?" Or I met him only once in my life, and I don't know. He's not a guy that I followed too much, musically speaking, and in any way, I only know him a little more because we did the covers with Malleus for two of his albums, but I don't know. It's not my cup of tea, let's say.
soy Fernando Davizal, estás escuchando Doom and Stone Latinoamérica.
Regresamos aquí a Doom and Stone Latinoamérica. Estamos platicando con Urlo de la banda Ufomammut y su proyecto Demon desde Italia para el mundo. Dice que este año iban a tratar de venir a Estados Unidos, pero bueno, el tema de las visas, la burocracia hizo que no pasara. Pero dice que es probable que cambien los horizontes y uno nunca sabe, quizás el próximo año puedan llegar a Sudamérica. Crucemos los dedos, por favor, para que esto pase. Y pues bueno, le preguntamos sobre sus primeras memorias musicales. Como saben, es una pregunta recurrente con la que abrimos siempre nuestros episodios para conocer a nuestros héroes alrededor del mundo. Y pues bueno, dice que de niño a él le gustaba mucho el punk rock. Él iba en la high school, pero cuando tenía 9 años fue su primer acercamiento. Dice que estaba en un supermercado y vio este disco El Middle de Pink Floyd. Y pues bueno, en ese tiempo los discos no tenían este código de barras, ¿no? Entonces agarró el precio y se lo cambió de un disco a otro. Y fue con su mamá y le dijo: oye mamá, ¿me puedes comprar este disco? Y su mamá dijo: no está tan caro, ok, vamos, tráelo. Entonces dice que cuando pasaron a la caja estaba súper nervioso. Y pues bueno, obviamente se lo compró, llegó, lo puso y dice que pues bueno, eso fue algo que le cambió la historia de la música. Y bueno, dice que después junto con Polla conocieron a Black Sabbath y más bandas. Dice que él tenía unos amigos que bueno, él está muy metido en el punk rock en Suiza y pues bueno, ellos también le pasaban música. Y que cuando conoció a Polla pues él estaba más metido en bandas clásicas como Led Zeppelin y empezaron a compartir música juntos. Dice que tenían por ahí algunos discos de The Clash, de los Buzzcocks, y así fue como empezaron a andar en esto de la música. Ya tiempo después descubrieron a bandas pues mucho más pesadas, a Caius, Sleep, a God Machine, Melvins, Soundgarden, Nirvana. Toda esta época de grunge noventera pues bueno les tocó. Entonces pues esos fueron como sus primeros pininos en la música. Ya hablando específicamente de Ufomammut y la escena local, dice que cuando empezó la banda realmente no había nada, era como un desierto. Entonces pues bueno, había algunas bandas locales, pero pues no se acercaban como tanto a lo que quieran hacer. Dice que había una que tiene un baterista súper técnico, entonces pues no estaba tan en lo pesado, porque pues bueno, Italia es un lugar donde el progresivo manda, obviamente. Y bueno, el otro lado dice que a 16 kilómetros hay otra segunda banda, pero pues bueno, era lo más que había como de esa escena, ¿no? Cuando ellos empezaban. Y dice que por ahí del 2006 fue cuando grabaron este disco de Lucifer Songs, y también empezaron un sello que es muy importante, que se llama el Supernatural Cat, y al mismo tiempo pues bueno, también tenían este taller de arte de serigrafía Malleus, donde trabajan pues bueno varios integrantes de Ufomammut, Opoya también. Y pues bueno, eso es como las primeras andadas de Ufomammut. Dice que con este disco, el Supernatural Cat, pues pudieron conocer muchas bandas increíbles de Italia, entre ellas Lento, Ovo y Su, que bueno, la conocen por este trabajo que han hecho con Mike Patton. Vinieron a México una vez, increíbles por cierto. Y dice que ahora está increíble porque hay un montón de bandas, el género ha crecido, pero al mismo tiempo se ha hecho muy cerrado. Eso también es un problema. Dice que antes era más abierto y pero como que era parte de la magia, no poder compartir esta música con otra gente. Y dice que está chido que siga creciendo esta escena Doom Psych, pero pues bueno, dice que eso es como algo bien y pues algo también como malo de cierta forma, como lo quieran ver. Entonces pues bueno, dice que cuando no vienes de un país como Inglaterra o Estados Unidos, pues las bandas siempre van a ser diferentes porque tienen algo de su escena local, ¿no? Tienen la urgencia de hacer algo diferente y no te quedas siempre con lo clásico, siempre hay que combinar sonidos. Y hablamos del caso de Sepultura, justamente cuando lanzaron este disco al Roots, pues bueno, se veía ahí su cultura, era algo diferente, era un shock. Y para Urlo es muy importante nunca perder nuestras raíces, siempre ser fieles a donde estamos, a donde pertenecemos, y eso también es parte del sonido que llevamos. Y le hice una última pregunta en este bloque muy curiosa y le dije: oye Urlo, ¿qué piensas cuando yo digo Paul Chain? Y dice: mucha gente me lo ha preguntado. Y dice: la verdad es que solamente lo conocí una vez y no lo sigo realmente, no sigo su música, no es algo que esté como en mi círculo. Y dice que sabe que es famoso Paul Chain en otros países, que es como de culto, una leyenda, pero dice que solamente lo conocí una vez y fue porque con Malleus diseñaron algunas portadas de algunos discos de Paul Chain. Así que pues bueno, esa es la primera parte de esta entrevista con Urlo. Vamos a continuar revisando parte de la historia de la banda, su nuevo disco. Y también pues bueno, su nuevo disco con Ufomammut, su nuevo disco con Demon, que está bien chido porque tiene colaboraciones con Colin de Amenra, Don Steve Bontil y bueno, demás personas por ahí. Así que bueno, ya regresamos. Trépele, sáquese algo. Gózala.
Hey, my name's John, and I'm in Conan, and you're listening to Doomed and Stoned Latin America.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Ufomammut recently celebrated 24 years as a band. So, what do you think is the key to longevity in the music industry?
Well, as you know, after 20 years, Vita left the band. So only Poi and me are from the original trio. It was something that was in the air, so it was okay. I mean, he decided to follow his path, and we decided we wanted to go on with the Ufomammut, and we tried to stay in our family. So we called Levre, that he was already a friend since years. He was already on tour with us as a sound merch and as a merch guy, and helping out with the sound engineer sometimes and so on. And we had already, Poi and me had already a project with him, so we just moved on a different path, but it is still the same. It's still the same people with another guy. So it's longevity is. I mean, life goes on, so you get older and older, but. I mean, I'm not thinking now of saying I'm old for playing music or whatever, because I'm still loving to do this kind of thing. It has changed from the beginning for sure, because I remember when we started, it was more, I don't know what to say, but it was easiest in some way to play music because it was more a game. And little by little, when you grow as a band, it becomes something different. You have to do the things in another way, starting thinking what it will come next, and so on. But Poi and me are still together. Sometimes we talk about this thing, and we always say, it's clear to us we have to go on, always go on, and keeping Ufomammut as a sort of religion for us, because it's really a part of me. I cannot think now of myself without thinking about Ufomammut. So it's something that is natural for me. Waking in the morning, I know that I'm a part of this thing, that I have to create, to do things for Ufomammut, and so next year will be 25, and I hope we'll make even more than 25. I don't think 50, but
why not? Why not?
I would be too old for shaking my head, probably.
Oh, no. You can do it.
We'll try. Well, Ozzy Osbourne is still on the. Even if he decided not to go on tour, he's still doing what he loves to do. So we can find other ways of doing the same thing in different ways. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And well, talking about Lebre, you record a new album, Phoenix, with him. So I want to ask you, how was the recording process, the creative process? Because I think it's different. I mean, it's a new member and everything is new for you guys. Maybe it's like an injection of adrenaline or something like that. You know, when you have a new member, probably it's different. But tell us about this new album. How was the behind of this album, basically?
Well, when the album started from the part that is Metamorphonics, the beginning of this song, that was, I remember Poi and me were in the rehearsal room, and we started with this arpeggio and this bass line. And this was the beginning of Fenice. And then we asked Levre if he was interested in becoming the third one in Ufomammut. He said, of course, he was super happy, and then the pandemic exploded. So just after, the week after, we were all closed in our homes and so on. So it was strange, because we were super excited to do something. With started again, but we were forced to stay home. So when we were free again, we immediately started. We met in the rehearsal room and we started in playing together. And Fenice came out really quickly. I think in a couple of months it was done. And it was a different way, for sure, of playing, because we were used to play for 20 years with Vita. And all of a sudden, we had a totally different drummer and a different way of seeing the things, the music, how to create music and so on. So it was easy but strange at the same time. So in studio, it was we did all in a week, and I think it was something like 4 days of recordings and 3 days of mixing. So it was quite quick as a recording, and everything went smooth. And also preparing for the tour was a different thing, but very, very good. And we are, I repeat, we were already friends with Levre, so it was just another easy thing to do, to communicate, to do all the things. And the only thing is he lives close to Milano, so it's not so close to us, and he has to travel, but he's young, so he can do it.
Yeah, I love the new album. The sound is fresh, and for me it's that combination from the old Ufomammut days and the last album. So it's just amazing how you can cross and combine both sounds. It works perfectly. It feels naturally, you know. It's really cool.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's like that. I mean, it's Levre is surely more technical as a drummer. But he plays also other instruments, guitar, bass. So there's a different exchange of things. And with him, we decided not to close ourselves in a way. So we said, okay, let's try to do something different. And we are working on new stuff already. So this thing is even more clear now that we. Or it's 3 years now that we play together, so it's easiest, and it comes more natural, everything, and it's good. I think and it's good to change a little. I think we were a little stuck with after 8. I was a little bored about. I think we were a little repeating always the same things, and it was time to change in some way. So. It is Levre is a fresh air in some way. So.
How you doing? I'm John from Evoke, and you're listening to Doomed and Stoned Latino.
Regresamos aquí a su Doom and Stone Latinoamérica. Seguimos platicando con Urlo, de la banda de Ufomammut desde Italia y su nuevo proyecto Demon. Este año celebra Ufomammut 24 años de carrera. Se dice fácil, largo camino. Y sobre esto, pues bueno, le preguntamos cómo se siente, cómo pueden mantener esa longevidad y no morir en el camino. Y pues bueno, dice que por muchos años pues estuvo Polla, Urlo y Vita. Fue como el power trio que todos conocíamos, pero hubo un rompimiento. Vita decidió seguir su camino y pues bueno, en ese inter conocieron o tenían a Lebre, que más bien ya era parte de su familia. Era el chico que vendía la mercancía y a veces la hacía de ingeniero de sonido. Entonces pues ellos querían seguir su camino, querían seguir rockeando. Ufomammut no puede parar, es una banda muy importante, así que pues se la jugaron, ¿no? Dijeron, no, vamos a continuar sea como sea. Entonces, pues bueno, dice que la forma de continuar este proyecto pues tiene que ver mucho con la pasión que tienen por la banda. Dice, Ufomammut es parte de nosotros, es parte que como una religión, por decirlo de alguna forma, así lo mencionó Urlo, y es algo natural, vivimos Ufomammut, somos Ufomammut. Entonces, dice, cuando éramos jóvenes, pues la verdad es que era un juego, ahora pues bueno, somos más profesionales y siempre estamos cuestionándonos qué sigue, ¿no? Dice, a pesar de los años, no perdemos la intensidad, no perdemos esta pasión. Y dice, ahora quizás soy un poco más viejo, pero sigo amando esto. Dice, no sé si voy a poder hacer esto hasta los 50 años, cuando Ufomammut cumpla 50 años. Y yo le digo que sí se puede. Y dice, sí, Ozzy Osbourne, dice, lo sigue haciendo, ya no turea, pero bueno, está ahí presente. Dice, quizás ya no voy a poder sacudir la cabeza de la misma forma, ¿no? Entonces, pues ahí bromeamos un poco, pero bueno, la importancia de Ufomammut, 24 años han inspirado a muchas generaciones. La verdad es que han trabajado muy duro para llegar a este punto y tienen todo el reconocimiento de todos los que hagamos estos sonidos. Y bueno, también le preguntamos sobre su nuevo álbum, el Fenicia, creo que así se pronuncia en italiano. Y pues bueno, para este álbum, pues justo Lebre entró ya a la banda, trabajaron con él. Y pues bueno, dice que el álbum nació cuando Polla y Urlo estaban echando un jam. Dice, creo que tenemos algo por aquí. Vita creo que ya había dejado la banda, pero en ese inter explotó la pandemia y bueno, cada quien tuvo que encerrarse. Cuando pudieron salir nuevamente, bueno, fue cuando decidieron ya traer a Lebre a la banda y empezaron a trabajar de una manera muy diferente a como lo habían hecho en el pasado. Dice, fue de cierta forma fácil porque ya conocíamos a Lebre, pero al mismo tiempo fue algo extraño adaptarnos a alguien nuevo. Y pues bueno, sobre esto nos menciona que el álbum se grabó en 3 días más o menos, y de mezcla usaron también otros 3. Dice que también para este tour fue muy diferente porque fue un tour post-COVID, entonces pues se tuvieron que hacer las cosas de manera diferente. Lebre, pues bueno, vive en Milano, dice que no están cerca de donde están ellos, pero pues bueno, siempre buscan la forma de trabajar. Dice, Lebre es más técnico, pero puede tocar más instrumentos y esto lo hace algo muy diferente, muy rico, ¿no? Entonces, él siente que la entrada de Lebre a la banda pues es aire fresco para ellos, es algo increíble. Dice, quizás Ufomammut estaba un poco atascado porque era lo que siempre sabíamos hacer de la misma manera, y con Lebre es romper eso que conocemos y adaptarnos a nuevas cosas. Entonces pues bueno, este Ufomammut, de nuevo Ufomammut, tiene nuevas ideas y bueno, están muy contentos, se siente muy optimista. Y pues bueno, como dice Ufomammut, es una banda que espera seguir por muchos años más, hacer más discos y bueno, por supuesto, siempre innovar, hacer algo fresco, ¿no? Lo hemos visto con las portadas, con la música, los sintetizadores, todo lo que tienen. El behind de Ufomammut es simplemente increíble. Y pues bueno, hablando de equipo, vamos a escuchar ahora qué es lo que usa Urlo para poder crear estos sonidos masivos que te vuelan la cabeza. Vamos a hablar de su equipo un poco, vamos a ñoñarle. Y pues bueno, mientras esto pasa, pues sáquese ahí un tecito, una conchita, un toquecito. Ya regresamos aquí a su Doom and Stone. Síganos en todas las redes sociales, Facebook, Instagram y Twitter. Ya regresamos.
Hello from Germany. This is Volker, the voice of Freak Valley Festival in Germany. I wish you a lot of fun by the radio show Doomed and Stoned in Latinoamerica. Viel Spaß!
And well, now I want to talk a little bit about your gear. If you tell us in general words the gear that you used to play on live, I mean synthesizers, bass, cabs, pedals, etc.
Well, live I use My amp is an electric amp. It's a power unit, so it has only just 3 knobs, nothing else, and it's quite easy to use. And I have a 415 cab usually when I play in Europe, and still of electric amps. Then I have when I play live, I use mainly Rickenbacker because I have all my Rickenbacker. I got this horseshoe pickup that is magnetic pickup, so it has a big sustain, and I have a guitar pickup that is called toaster, I think, or something like that. In all my basses, because I like to have always the same sound. I bought Oh, sorry. I bought another Rickenbacker that is a 4001 that with common pickups, but I had to change them because of the sound that was not so good for me. I mean, it was a little lower than what I had usually. Then I have this distortion as pedals. I mainly use this fuzz that is. It was called. It comes from an Italian pedal that was called UFO Octafuzz, and it was. I found it by chance, I think, when I was 30, so lots of time ago, and even before, probably before Ufomammut. Well, and it was a giant pedal. You can find something probably on the internet. Then I broke it. I found another one. I broke it again, so I asked to this guy in Italy called T-Pedals if he could duplicate the pedal, and he built me this distortion that is based on this one. So this is my holy grail, and my main sound comes from that. Then I use delays, reverb, octaver, and different things. But the main pedal, the most important thing for me is Rickenbacker 415 and distortion. Then when we play live, we use to send samples of the synthesizers we record on the albums, and we do with our feet. So I remember when Stephen Till told us that we are feet oven because we play with our feet. And this thing was very funny. And we launched all these samples, and we play these synthesizers with it's called 12-step. That is a MIDI pedal connected to Ableton Live, that is a software, and we can do everything with this one, and it's quite good. While on studio, we try to use I have some good synthesizers, and like I have a little Fatty of Moog, a couple of Korgs, some other little toys. And then lately I'm using quite a lot of virtual synths. I really like, for example, the Arturia Pigments. That is quite incredible, and
yes, it is.
very cool. So there are lots of things, and it's even easiest when you have to move around, so you can work on the road and everything. So, and well, since the beginning, we try to mix this kind of old school with computers and let's say progress. So we don't have problems if digital synth is good, if virtual synth is good. So we don't say no. Well, I don't like it, like lots of people say. I don't care. The important thing is the result, the final result. So it's
yeah. Wow, that's amazing. And let me say this thank you so much, because your setup is a big inspiration for my band. I play the synthesizer samples, and you guys are a big inspiration. Probably you need an extra person to do that, but you do just yourself. It's really cool.
Well, we tried in the past. We had 3 guys trying, but it was quite always difficult, and so we decided at that time to try to do everything by ourselves. It's a little more tricky, but at the end, it's okay. Poi è speed.
I'm Ethan from Primitive Man, and you are listening to Doomed and Stoned Latino America.
Regresamos a este Doom and Stone Latinoamérica. Vamos a platicar ahora de la magia, el gear, el equipo que usa Urlo para tocar. Apúntele bien, ahí véale como dicen los memes. Esto es un poco general, obviamente no somos super ñoños, super freaks, pero quizás a algunos de ustedes como fanáticos les puede servir esto. Dice que él usa un Electric Amp, una Power Unit. Dice que, pues bueno, este es muy sencillo de utilizar. Esto pasa por un gabinete 4x15 y dice que tiene dos Rickenbacker. El primero pues tiene Magnetic Pickups y esto hace que tenga un sustain súper alto, así que pueda, la gordura la sienta usted ahí en la cara. Y también tiene otro Rickenbacker, un 4001, con unas pastillas pues más sencillas, pero dice que esto le da un tono muy muy bajo. Y dice que la tercera cosa importante en su gear es una distorsión, un fuzz, y tiene un pedal italiano que ahora se llama el UFO Octafuzz. Dice que este fue un pedal que él tuvo desde hace mucho tiempo, desde antes de empezar Ufomammut de hecho, y que lo rompió muchas veces y que bueno, este es un pedal muy grande. Entonces encontró a alguien en Italia que le pudiera hacer este pedal, ¿no? Entonces al final de este viaje, pues bueno, logró conseguir como su versión de este fuzz, de esta distorsión. También dice que usa delays y octavadores, y en vivo usa un sampler para poner los sintes, ¿no? Y es el que tiene con el pie, el que maneja con el pie. Dice que una vez Steve Bonti le dijo, eres como Beethoven usando este sintetizador y este MIDI con los pies, ¿no? Seguro ustedes lo han visto. Si ponen ahí Ufomammut en vivo, van a ver ese sample, ese sinte. Y bueno, dice que esto lo usa a través de el Ableton Live, que es un programa para sintetizadores digitales. En estudio les gusta usar sintetizadores físicos, pero también digitales, no tienen problema con eso. Usan el Pigments de Arturia, que es un programa increíble, se los recomiendo. También lo usamos ahí a veces para Vinum Sabati. Y pues bueno, dice que la verdad es que en el pasado tuvieron como gente que les intentó ayudar con esto de los samplers, de las proyecciones, pero nada, dice que quizás es muy tricky, es la forma más dura hacerlo ellos mismos, pero es como están acostumbrados y así lo hace Ufomammut. Pero bueno, vamos a escuchar la última parte de esta entrevista, vamos a hablar de su nuevo proyecto Demon, y bueno, vamos a hacer una última traducción para cerrar esta maravillosa entrevista con Urlo. Ya regresamos aquí a su Doom and Stone.
Hey, what's up? This is Brett from Paul Bear, and you're listening to Doomed and Stoned Latin America.
Now I want to talk about Demon. This is your solo project. It's really amazing, atmospheric, very slow, heavy. So tell us the behind of this project and your recently new album with Calling from Amenra and Steve Bontil and other guests, please.
Well, the first album, Doppelleben, that was, if I'm not wrong, it was out in 2018, probably something like that. It was at the end of a lot of things that changed in my life. And as I told you, I was a little bored about always playing the same, not the same thing, but in the same way with Ufomammut. So I wanted to do something by myself. I already started years before in doing something by myself. It was a project that hopefully one day we will bring out, that was called Far West Zombie. And then I started by myself, then I involved Poya and Lorenzo and Fede of Lento. And we recorded some songs that for now never came out. So I had this urge of doing something by myself, to create something that was just mine, just what I was feeling without having other persons involved. This was the first one. It was more, for sure, more electronic, more synthesizer. I did something with drums. It was something a little immature, I can say, because it was just something that came out, and I wanted to release it and try to do this thing. But It was also quite difficult to be played live because there were lots of layers, lots of instruments. I tried with levre and my friend Stefano, that I think around 2018, but at the end I decided, okay, let's just keep it as an album, a studio album, because it's a little difficult for me. Then after this one, I started in. I wanted to go on with this project with Demon, of course, and I started creating something that was more in the idea of doing something live, something that I could bring out live and not only in studio. So I started in playing the most of the songs with an acoustic guitar and vocals to see what could come out, and then I recorded the first structures. Some songs were just maybe guitar and voice, some other were a piano or a synth line and things like that. When they were a little more songs, let's say, I decided that I wanted to have some guests on this album, because first I started with a song that is called Secret, and I asked my girlfriend if she wanted to sing on the song because she has a wonderful voice. Then she had a project in the past, and so I saw how the song changed with the voice of someone else. So I tried to see if some friends were interested in the project, and I wrote to Steve Until, I wrote to Colin of Amen-Ra, I wrote to Sarah Pendleton of ex-Sub Rose, now in the Autolit band, and to Dave of White Hills. And the strange thing for me was that all of them answered, yeah, we want to do something. We are excited, and it was, oh wow, great. So Colin and me decided to do also a song together. That was an EP that came out, I think 2 years ago or last year, I don't remember. That is called My Rotten Heart and Into Nothing. And it's the same song called sang by me and sang by Colin. And it was a very nice thing to experiment. And with this Demon, when I received, for example, the song Confession, where Steve Till wrote the lyrics, sang the song, and create a lot of atmosphere with scenes and so on, I was amazed by what he did. And it was really an honor because I mean, we are friends since years, but he's Steve Till, so when you think, wow, it's great.
Yeah.
The same for Colin, for Dave, for Sarah, for all of them. It's great because they really gave something different to this album. When I listen to the version, for example, of the same song without the violins of Sarah, it's empty, and these things added a lot. So Colin wrote the lyrics and sang another song, and if I'm not wrong, Sarah played violins in 3 songs, and Dave guitar in 2 songs. So at the end, this album is, even if there are all these guests, I feel it much more mine than the first one. Yeah. I think it's more personal, and I'm very happy about how people is reacting to the first songs. So I must say I'm happy and proud of the work I did on it.
Hola, soy Juan de Vinum Sabati y Fumata y estás escuchando Doom and Stone Latinoamérica.
Regresamos aquí a su Doom and Stone Latinoamérica, último bloque de esta entrevista con Urlo. Un montón de cosas que decirles. Vamos a traducirles este bloque pasado y el final de la entrevista. La verdad es que Urlo es un tipazo, es un personaje muy importante para nosotros, como bueno, Ufomammut en general, son una gran inspiración para nosotros, les admiramos muchísimo, y escucharlo desde un lado más personal te abre una percepción diferente del artista, de quién es, lo que siente y lo que quiere transmitir. Y justamente hablando de eso, pues bueno, vamos a platicar de su proyecto Demon. En 2018 sacó su primer álbum y dice que pues bueno, fueron cambios personales que le pasaron y gracias a eso creó este álbum. Dice que antes de esto, pues bueno, él ya había tenido un proyecto en el pasado en el que estaba Polla, estaba Lorenzo de Lento, pero este proyecto nunca salió y quizás es como lo anterior o el predecesor de lo que es Demon. Y pues bueno, dice que él quería cambiar obviamente su sonido de Ufomammut, no quería que dijeran, es lo mismo que Ufomammut, ¿no? Entonces, al ser algo más personal, buscó una identidad, buscó un sonido que le gustara, con el que se sintiera cómodo, y esto, pues bueno, fue sin duda algo más electrónico, más drone. Es él, su voz, obviamente, una guitarra acústica o bajo acústico. Entonces, pues bueno, como se pueden imaginar, no ha sido nada fácil llevar este show en vivo. Entonces dice que pues se metió muchas atmósferas, instrumentos. Dice que intentó en 2018 llevar el show en vivo con Lebre, con Steve, pero bueno, ha sido complicado trasladarlo. Y se dio cuenta que quizás la clave estaba en hacer un disco y dejarlo como tal, solamente la parte del sonido. Entonces para este segundo álbum llamado Ay o Ojo en español, pues bueno, fue la parte acústica más las voces, empezó a estructurar de la misma forma que en el pasado, pero se dio cuenta que podía hacer mucho más, que podía experimentar, y decidió compartir estas estructuras con sus amigos. Entonces pues bueno, tiene a Steve Bontil por ahí en la voz, tiene a Sarah Pennington, que es de Otolith, también tiene a Colin de Amen-Ra, tiene a su novia en la canción Secret. Entonces pues bueno, cada uno de ellos le dio algo diferente al sonido a cada canción de Urlo. En el caso de Colin, por ejemplo, de Amen-Ra, pues dice que ellos ya habían grabado una canción para un EP hace 2 años y solo hicieron como los cambios de voces, lo cual pues es bastante interesante. En el caso de la canción Confession, que es el single que está ahorita afuera, pues bueno, Steve Bontil se encargó de escribir toda la letra y pues bueno, dice, es mi amigo, pero bueno, saben, es Steve Bontil de Neurosis, todas las cosas que ha hecho, wow. Y del otro lado, Sara, por ejemplo, dice que ahora escucha la canción que grabó con Sara y si no tuviera su violín se sentiría vacío. Entonces dice que todos agregaron algo, pero al final de cuentas, a pesar de que todos agregan algo, es algo personal, algo que es suyo de Urlo, y eso lo hace muy muy feliz. Y pues bueno, le preguntamos por qué se llama Ojo, por qué se llama Ay este disco. Dice que porque primero lo puedes leer de todos lados, ¿no? El arte está basado como desde el lado del micrófono, si ustedes lo ven, cuando ven la portada van a alcanzar a ver la inspiración que tiene esto. Y también dice que es lo que ha visto y lo que está por ver y lo que no se alcanza a ver, eso se la, y es como su tercer ojo, dice Urlo, es como estas cosas que a lo mejor estás viendo pero no estás entendiendo, o cosas que no ves pero percibes. Entonces eso es el tercer ojo. Entonces puede tener muchísimos significados y por eso él decidió llamarlo Ay, es algo personal de Urlo. En cuanto a llevar este disco a un tour, dice que está trabajando en eso, que no lo descarta, que a lo mejor puede que sea sus pedales, un bajo acústico, y bueno, tiene que setear una pedalera muy diferente, todo por su cuenta. Dice que quizás, si todo va bien, si puede hacer que las canciones las puede interpretar en vivo con lo que tiene. Por ahí de septiembre, octubre, puede que haga un tour en Europa, ya por supuesto en Italia también, pero dice que pues bueno, es tricky porque al final de cuentas es un proyecto solista. Ufomammut como se está establecido, pero empezar de cero es complicado. Entonces dice que es todo un reto y pues bueno, yo le decía como fanático, ¿no? Oye, ¿por qué no hacen un tour Steve Bontil, Colin de Amen-Ra y pues bueno, tú? Y dice que estaría muy chido. Y le digo, es más, ¿por qué no hacen una super banda? Sería una locura. Y dice, y se ríe un poco, dice, no lo sé, quizás en algún futuro, no puedo descartarlo, pero dice, lo que sí es que colaborar juntos ha sido grandioso. Esto tiene que ver con la amistad y pues bueno, se refleja, ¿no?, en cada una de las canciones, de los tracks que tiene Urlo en este nuevo disco llamado I. Y pues bueno, podemos escuchar por ahí una canción, dos canciones en realidad, una con Colin Diamenra y otra con Steve Von Tier al final de la entrevista. Y pues bueno, la siguiente parte que vamos a estar platicando tiene que ver con Malleus, este colectivo de arte que tiene junto con Polla, y pues bueno, juntos han hecho un trabajo formidable por mucho tiempo. Dice que cuando estaban haciendo Ufomammut también estaban haciendo Malleus, nacieron justamente de la mano y pues bueno, no se pueden separar prácticamente. Entonces dice que antes ellos hacían pósters para bandas y de repente pues se dieron cuenta que también podían hacer portadas de discos y pues bueno, la gente se fue interesando mucho en este proyecto. Y al final, pues bueno, dijeron, creo que esto es parte de nuestra identidad, es parte de lo que hacemos y podemos profesionalizarlo. Entonces, pues bueno, dice que llevan muchos años ya haciendo pósters para bandas. Y pues bueno, dice que es muy loco porque le preguntaba sobre cómo se sentía al crear estos pósters, qué veía, cómo los llevaba a la vida. Y dice que es muy loco porque es un proceso muy peculiar donde tu mente está trabajando en algo, está imaginándolo y lo tienes que pasar al papel. Pero no solamente es el papel en sí, porque ese papel tienes que pensarlo como un objeto que va a terminar en un proceso de serigrafía. Y pues bueno, dice que a veces las cosas no salen como te las imaginas, pueden ser muy diferentes, pero esa es parte de la exploración, de la experimentación, creo yo. Y dice que se siente se siente muy afortunado, esa es la palabra en realidad, porque dice que puede hacer las cosas que él ama, dice que al final su trabajo es lo que ama, él toca música, él ama el arte, entonces él cree mucho en lo que hace y eso, gracias a eso, pues bueno, Malleus es lo que es hoy en día, obviamente con ayuda de muchas personas atrás de todo este proyecto. Y pues bueno, dice que este sueño hay que mantenerlo obviamente vivo, ¿no? Por mucho tiempo. También hablamos un poco sobre qué consejo le daría a estas nuevas generaciones que quieren tocar este tipo de sonidos lentos, pesados, psicodélicos. Y pues bueno, nos dice que tienes que creer, haz lo que tú creas prácticamente. No dejes de creer en lo que haces, nunca te detengas a pesar de todas las dificultades que puede haber por ahí. Sigue tus sueños, eso es muy muy importante. Crea tu propio camino y si algo es bueno, la gente lo va a reconocer y cuando la gente lo reconozca, lo vas a sentir de inmediato. No es algo que puedas forzar, no es algo que puedas comprar el reconocimiento de la gente. Entonces, si tú sigues tu trabajo y pues bueno, trabajas muy muy duro, seguramente en algún momento pues bueno, las cosas se van a dar, ¿no? Ese es un gran consejo de Urlo, que bueno, va a cumplir 25 años con Ufomammut, ¿no? Y finalmente le preguntamos, aparte de la música, ¿cuáles son tus actividades favoritas? Y nos dice cosas muy simples como cualquier persona, leer libros, escuchar música, ver películas, andar en bicicleta. Dice que también le gusta los carros de los 70, tiene uno, dice que le da dolores de cabeza, pero bueno, al final de cuentas es lo que lo mantiene pues bueno, tranquilo y con lo que se divierte, ¿no? Y las palabras finales para Urlo, para toda Latinoamérica y México es: esperamos ir muy pronto hacia allá, hacia México, a Latinoamérica. Es un sueño que tienen y espera se logre muy pronto. Y bueno, dice que muchas gracias a todos ustedes. Y con esto cerramos nuestra entrevista. Vamos a escuchar esta última parte de sus palabras. Nos vemos en la siguiente. Todavía tenemos por ahí varias cosas pendientes. Se viene nuestra visita a Desert Fest Berlín, al Festival a Dinamarca y si es posible al Freak Valley. Ya les estaremos informando en nuestras redes sociales, Doom and Stone Latinoamérica. Allí veremos qué sucede, ¿no? Cuídense mucho. Nos vemos hasta la próxima. Gócela.
Hola mis amigos. This is Joe from Kurikuma in the UK. And you're listening to Doomed and Stoned Latinoamérica.
Yeah, amazing. Why you decide to call it I? What the I is important for you? What represents the I?
Well, because it was well, first of all, it's a word that you can read from both sides. Then the symbol I use for writing the word is like the microphone I use usually. So it's an ideogram in some way that I recall to that. And then because this album is in some way what I started in C in a different way. So it's like my third eye, the way I see things and try to explore other worlds that I was not able to see before, and now I'm seeing much more by myself. So there are lots of meanings, and I like when people add meanings to a word. So if you think that the title of the album means something for you, it's great. And I hope that lots of people will interpret and see the title as they want.
Yeah. And do you have any plans to tour with this album in Europe and United States?
Yeah,
around the
trying
world?
now to start with the first ideas. Well, I'm working on the live show because obviously it will be something by myself. I built up a total different gear, total different pedal board with the different effects. I will play an acoustic bass, semi-acoustic bass, and a semi-acoustic and a low guitar. And so apart, I decided to play the synths through guitars and bass with an effects because it would be too much to have also synthesizers and so on. I will have to try to do everything by myself. And I'm already trying to do the songs in a different way. I mean, some of them will be the same way, but some others will be probably something different. So I want to bring it live, and I think I will try to do from September, October here in Europe and in Italy. I'm trying to find out some gigs, a little tour in Europe. Then I will have a tour with the main band, Ufomammut, and then I will see if I can find out something different. I must say, it's a little tricky because it's like starting again from the beginning. So it's quite difficult. I mean, why with Ufomammut, it's okay, Ufomammut, I'm interested. With the more you have to explain, to tell people who you are, what are you doing, and so on. And sometimes it's being a solo project, as a sort of acoustic thing, it's quite difficult to bring it around. But little by little, I think.
Yeah, this is an idea as a fan, maybe a request. You should tour with Step Until and Calling from Amara, and that would be a killer tour, solo tour. I saw a Step Until at Fire in the Mountains in Wyoming. Man, that was a beautiful experience, one of the best experiences of my life. So if you guys put that tour, the three together, that would be just insane. That's a request as a fan.
Yeah, I'll try to. I'll tell the other guys if they want to. Yeah. It would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe. Yeah, we have to. I mean, after this experience, I think that collaborating with people is great. So it's something that we did in the past, but just with close friends. And now doing this thing is creating an extended family and giving a different perspective of things to you and to the people. And I think it's great. I think it's a thing that I would like to continue to do in the future, and maybe also creating a band with some friends or whatever is another thing that we have to consider, and for sure.
I want to take this chance to talk about Malleus. Besides music is one of your main projects. You create amazing art. You create beautiful draws and posters in, I don't know if I can pronounce this in a proper way, silkscreen, I think that's the name. But well, I think art is everything. Art is an important part of my life. So when I see your posters, your creations, it makes me feel in many ways, happy, excited, sad sometimes. So it's really amazing. What represents Malleus for you and the art that you create?
Well, it's cool. I mean, it's when we started, Poi and me started Malleus together, and it was Ufomammut and Malleus were born together. And because it was, we started doing little posters for our previous band, Judicorda. They were hand drawn and Xeroxed, and it was a different process, but it was something that we loved to do since the beginning. Then the first seal screen came in, I think it was the end of 2002, and it was something that really changed our life because we were doing covers for records and so on, but this creating images for an event, for a concert, a gig, or whatever, is really something different, because you put your mind in, you enter in another world, and you start in drawing, creating, and then you put what you have in mind on paper, and you see it born again when you print it. Because when you do seal screen, it's every color is a process, a part of the final poster. So you don't know until the end if it will be good or not. And then with seal screen, you can use special inks, and the final result is sometimes something very different and very cool. So I think I'm really lucky, because in my life I've done all the things that I love to do, and my job is something that I love to do, and I play music, and everything is so far so good for me. I must say, there's been different difficult periods for sure, but every time we believe in what we do, and we try always to keep our dreams alive. And even if I'm not driving a Ferrari or something like that, I'm totally happy of what I've done and what I hopefully will do in the future with Malleus, and also with the band and everything. So it's good.
Yes, it is, of course, and you give a lot of happiness to all the people with your art, and that's really amazing. I have just the last two questions for you. The first one is, what advice would you give to the young people that starting a band in a current era of music?
Well, the main thing is to do what you believe. To believe in what you do. I mean, if you believe that your music is what you want to do it. If you believe your heart is worth it of doing it, do it. Never think about stopping because of difficulties or whatever. Just try to follow your dreams. So that is the main thing. And of course, you don't have to kill people to do this, but you have to try to stay on your path to do what you believe in, because it's very important. And the main thing is that you don't have to feel upset if someone says to you are not good, you are not this, or you are not that. You just have to feel inside yourself that you are doing the right thing, because everything we do, I think it's important that we do for ourselves mainly. And then if we are doing this in a good way for us, it will be also for all the people around, and it will give let's call it love to all the other people that we have around. It's like when you play live, if you're playing good, you can feel the people, and the people can feel you. So there's a sort of conjunction between all the vibes that we are able to bring out. But the main thing is just do what you think is good, and keep it on.
Yeah, that's a really good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And well, apart from music, what other hobbies or interests do you enjoy?
Well, I like to read books a lot, and listen to music, of course, and watching movies, and the common thing that people do. I like to ride my bike, even if in the last years after I had an accident, so I'm a little more. I pay more attention when I drive. Sometimes I feel like I'm an 80-year-old guy because I'm always looking around, going quite slow, and but little by little I'm keeping myself again back on track with the bike. And I also have an old car from the 70s, and I try to keep it alive, working on it little by little. Every year I have to change something because it doesn't work anymore, and so it's a pain in the ass, like we said, but it's a nice thing to keep yourself into something that is different from music or from art and so on. So, but the normal things of everybody.
Yeah, that's cool. I love to ride my bike here, but I live in the city, and Mexico City is a chaotic city. So trust me, you put your life when you ride a bike here.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, Urlo, thank you so much for your time. Do you have some final words for the audience in Mexico or Latin America?
Well, thank you, first of all. Gracias. And I really hope to come to Mexico and Latin America very soon with Ufomammut, and to play there and meet all of you guys, because you are wonderful. We know each other since a lot of time now, and I'm really thankful to you, and hope to meet in person again.
Yeah.
To the ones I share